You may have heard it said that what was being talked about is a gate in the city of Jerusalem. Have you heard that before? It's very commonly said it was a gate in the city of Jerusalem. There were big gates that were often closed, to keep out, invaders or whoever else. And then there were smaller doors that were kept open all the time for people to go in and out during the daytime. And, if a camel came through, then the big gates would have to be open, except for this one gate that happened to be called the Eye of the Needle. This gate was referred to that way for some unknown reason. And it was small, but the camels could get through it if they kneeled down and they had taken off their load. So the camel drivers, the merchants would have to take everything off the camel to get the camel to kneel down and go through the gate. And this story is completely, utterly false and made up. Weird, huh? Now, like I said before, I think probably 95% of what I've ever heard from all pastors is true. But there are a few things that pastors tend to repeat that are just completely made up. How do we know it's made up? There is no ancient source that identifies a gate in the city of Jerusalem as being called the Eye of the Needle anywhere. No ancient source exists. If there's no ancient source, it's just false. It's pastors quoting each other, and there is an old source for this rumor. In the Middle Ages, a little bit after the year 1000, there was a church father who wrote in the margins of a Bible that there might have been a gate called the Eye of the Needle. And that's where it comes from. But that's 1,000 years after the story allegedly originates. So it's just completely made up. What is Jesus talking about? And this part is a little bit Bible trivia. I hope you guys like Bible trivia. But it's important for understanding Jesus. Why does he say this weird thing about a camel going through the eye of a needle? It's because he's making a play on words, which is often what Jesus does. In the Greek language, which is very interesting because it probably means when Jesus actually told the parable, he was speaking Greek. Because this same play on words doesn't work in Aramaic, which would have been the common language of Galilee. But he must be speaking Greek so that not only the Jewish people, but other people around him can understand. In the Greek language, the word kamilos means a cable. So, like versus a piece of twine or a piece of thread, a large, thick rope. The word kamelos means a camel. Those words are very similar, right? What Jesus is doing in that moment is he's saying, getting a rich person into the kingdom of God, it's harder than threading a needle. In fact, it's harder than putting a cable through a needle. It's like you were putting a whole camel through the eye of a needle. Do you see it? It's all a play on words. All right, myth blown up.